And it's ready. Come off the machine people.
Yeah, back I sit down.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. It's just got 10 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Some housekeeping first. So if you need to make a call, you put your mobile phone silent. Be appreciated. No problem in taking a call. You just like to step outside and then rejoin us when you're able to. The toilets and facilities are directly behind us. Later that gents and disabled, so please use those if you need to. There will be a breakout session in the middle of the morning for a comfort break, and then lunchtime an hour or so. Please take the opportunity then too. We're not expecting the fire alarm, but if there is, then the fire exit is clearly marked. We need to outside. I hope you have a really wonderful day, and so we can move into the agenda. I think I'm excited to be here, and I'm even more excited to be able to return, because it's a wonderful venue. It's been great for us. It's tremendously hard to put on facility for us, fitting what we're trying to achieve. So I'm very excited to be here last year, even more excited to return. It's a bit of a unique moment in time as well, because I don't know whether you realise it's the 10th anniversary of the statement in Boston. And I'm thinking, where's that time gone? It's a shout out really to the audience. If you think you've been to all 10, I'm sure there's probably somebody here that has. Just go to the reception desk at lunchtime, and that'd be really so I think back if you've been here for 10. It's a wonderful venue, it's a bespoke venue venue. It's a great drive into it as we will experience since you arrived. We're also here to celebrate each and every one of your efforts, what you do and achievements, not in the last 12 months, but what you've done over your time as volunteer and helping the community, your roles and everything that you achieve. We are in very uncertain times. world stage. We can do little about, and challenges for us seem to get more and more challenging as time goes on. The agenda is structured today to help you navigate through those challenges. Whilst we're here, the department's diversified over the years, and Adventurous is a corporate events, team building, conference event producing company. But they do a wonderful job. We've got two excellent employees. Team. Makes my job so much more easy. So the philosophy of Adventurous is to engage, inspire, and ignite. Certainly done that for us today. It's also a technology-based company, so the advantage of having that technology. And this is just a small example, probably one of the smallest examples. But the beating heart of Adventurous, you know why I said that, is right here, my bar, because the company is established here, or the employees work. And whilst they may travel all over the UK to big venues to set up technology events and conferences, the beating heart of it, all of the employees, are actually so the heart of the company, the beating heart of all the is right here. Right next door, and you just wouldn't know. I just wanted to mention that. And also wanted to celebrate with you because they've had a tremendous year. I heard them talk about that, but it is important for me as to recognise when companies do something, especially when they look after us. And 8 awards in the last 12 months. 8 awards in the last 12 months. Achievement. And 3 of those ability, as we know, is a very fitting value in terms of sustainability. Remember last year, impression to see that. Not with us this year, but absolutely amazing. So I'd like it if you just join me in a round of applause. Thank you for that. Because you know how hard these are to achieve and true recognition. As I say, looks will be provided free of charge, and you're obviously welcome to visit the marketplace stands. I know many of you done registration this morning. They are there for your benefit. Huge amounts of effort today, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of them. Please visit them during the breakout session this morning and thank you all for coming over there. Again, from the extensive agenda that we've put together, nothing to onerous and they're not that long, and so we can pack more in to get more out of you. Huge effort to put into, thank everybody, mentioned today. I'd like to move into introducing and thanking Joanna. That's just let's say a few things. There is just one of the subjects I'm going to mention, which isn't on the agenda, that's devolution. And it's not focused on today. But I'm going to just mention opportunity too, which is already been said later. So delegates will be aware of the devolution local government review that is taking place. We make clear in authority we don't support unitary authority. This is the proposal that is being tabled for the 7 districts and North and the South. I'm going to know and see what they're on about. Hopefully you all responded to the survey issued by the Borough Council and the County Council 1 2. There's still time to do that, just not like that. But there is still time to do that. Sharon Stacey, Director of Community and Development Services, will be here all day, and Sharon would very much like to hear your additional feedback on a one-to-one session rather than during the agenda. And gather questions and any questions you have that you may have. Sharon can also provide individual updates on the developing joint district of Rutland County unitary model. If you'd like to do that, please just go to the registration desk at the outset of the mid-morning meeting break or at the outset of lunch, and an appointment will be made for you. you won't have very long, so we can try and get through as many people as we can. It's very much one-to-one, so you don't need to be frightened of any questions you're asking. Please take that opportunity. More about that. At the end of the conference, I will provide you all with a high-level summary of the feedback and Steve. So if you didn't manage to make it, you'll be better informed. There will be more detailed engagement over the summer, the start of that. I wanted to cover that before we went into the main agenda. So the questions didn't get bogged down with devolution as important. So thank you for that. Take the opportunity as it arises. And please see a warm welcome to John and Joanna. Hopefully, you'll be able to
It's very busy year for us. The award, meeting and technical resource to be award. Going forward, we've been really lucky getting awards in the wedding industry, in the wider resi industry, and the traditional as business.
I'm sure the share with the party and so let's just look back to the awards. So just talking about Mythe, so we registered with Greenwich, which is EcoSmart. Last year, I think when we had this meeting, we were a silver accredited vendor. We have now raised to gold. In turn, Greenwich coming down and review our process procedures. Joanne's got a lot of work into compiling data. You actually can't, you've got to justify how you move along. So we've gone from silver to gold. Into data demonstrate that Joanne pulls through spreadsheets, compiling all of the data from our meters, gas meters, and the difference of solar panels. Yeah, that's a fantastic achievement. We've also great achievements on the wedding feedback that we provide, and we continue to keep entering the wedding industry awards. For the last 5 years, I think we've been regional winner or regional finalist. Then we got to get that national finalist or the national winner. But hopefully, we still win.
3 years after 12, we've been the regional winner and got to national finals, but not nationally. So we've got that event. We'll keep going.
So just talking about sustainability on the farm. So just coming off the back of this meeting last year, we then introduced that with some funding, 30% towards any projects to do with sustainability. So we've got applications for doing some and for putting EV charges in, but we're probably sort of 5 years down. From talking to Simon, thank you so much, Simon, for introducing us to that year. We then applied, it was a really simple process through the council, and we got 30% towards it. So hopefully we've seen the EV charge. Hopefully someone connecting to them, fingers crossed. But yeah, we've been able to reduce our electricity use, reduce our carbon footprint, and give some great infrastructure for EV charges. Sustainability is what we're doing naturally, supported by some of the government schemes in terms of the Christmas stewardship scheme. We've got a lot of wildlife plots in, production, put them into wildlife plots. It's really increasing.
Well, that's phenomenal. In the last 5 years, not been.
It's really improved. And you get more into it. It just, increases. We're glad to Joanne, he's here, so she's got 4 around the farm. Obviously, they're supported by the farm. really yes, are. And then just at the end, we've got some community work. So I don't know if anyone's been down the lane in the last week, you want to see some of those blue bags. As part of our employees, we give a 3-day doing civics and community. So this group are included, went out and people at the the day, the joint with local volunteers. Yeah, I was seeing all these blue bags, just knowing that our team that guys contributing towards that. Next slide. So, just talking about some of the charity work we're doing. So, there's a charity called Alex's Wish, which launched to change the part of there's a family in Sheeping who's got a son that has the share. So, we're trying to work with this year, all the money that we're having. We're also in talks with the family in Sheeping to try and raise money for some of the kit that they need to make their life a bit more easy while the Muslim district rooms are that.
Coffee morning coming up next week.
We have, there's also a piece of so then next slide we'll talk about this was born out of Garden's Leisure Limited. Garden's Leisure was when we started the event here back in 2004. This is slowly over time we've focused more on the corporate. Now we're doing more sort of event management and services to large corporates. It needs to be big corporate to employ people who have a need for our services. So event management, payment production, team building, and all of that. Just have into what services they need, what do design, make it look great, lights, production, graphics, all this.
And this is for venues all over the country.
Yeah. We still or nationwide. And as I mentioned, we've got people a bit about particularly drive here. And so what awards we have this year?
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to invite Kieran. Because he was instrumental in driving Mrs. forward for the last number of years and really helping to achieve these. So I'm going to use the opportunity to, yeah.
Still bad. Morning, everyone, and welcome to my 10 more minutes. Thank you very much to Martin for the support and it's been a great chat. So I work for Joe Brown at the Centre, which Joe mentioned. We pushed really hard when as a business we were very much, sitting on hands, and we've delivered in the last 12 months 750 events around the UK, conferences, awards, journalists, team building for some great brands companies. The most recent one we've had Chamber of Commerce just awarded us for excellent events in the last couple of weeks. We went against some very thanks for that.
Not actually in Birmingham.
Yeah. So how we win up against thousands of other companies. So we are chuffed to win that. Within our industry, MIA and MIT are some of the associations. So we were going up against comparable companies that deliver conferences and events for brands. Some of them are much bigger, much more established than us. And we managed to win some really good clients that get recognition going up against those. And last ones I mentioned are the awards. That is dear to our heart. It's all about rural business. We champion a message of delivering sustainable events with a reduced carbon footprint and helping our clients achieve their KPIs. and will be a big part of how we move forward. So, yeah, thank you very much for your support today. Okay, we've got one. So, just want to share this picture with you. This is taken on Saturday morning. These are our sheep. I was just out giving them some hay in the morning. Just I set the shots. But I thought, as well as our diversification in terms of my farm and adventurers, we also have my farm, and farming is dear to my father's farmed here all of his life. My grandfather farmed a home farm with me just down the road. So yeah, farming is in our blood, and we're not about to let farming go. Even though as we keep looking on the loss counts, when we make that farming, we will not stop doing it. So I wanted to just touch a little bit on the period of change that's going on in the industry at the moment. Agricultural commodity prices have been stuck low for a long time. Since the Ukraine war, input prices have gone up, and with reduction in subsidies from the government, it feels like the margins are getting restricted. Now, recently there's been a lot in the news about the inheritance of the tractors down to London, and I think with margins being so tight, it's making it hard to then pass farms down to the next generation. Because if you're looking at passing the farm down, and now you've got to pay 20%, maybe it equates to 500,000. The next generation down is thinking, okay, we've got margins are tight, can't financially make it work. So that is going to be the farm. That's just a fact of the matter. The beneficiaries of that are going to be the larger farms, the richer landowners, and the investors. So that's not going away. The seeing is a change of the makeup in the rural community. When I look at neighbouring farms, we're in a good place because we're not wholly relying on agriculture. And some of the local farmers who haven't had the kind of upbringing, maybe the educational business, they haven't diversified, they're now going to get really squeezed. So I think as you guys are all, important people in the community, please, if you see some of local farmers trying to diversify, trying to change their business, please support them. So that's something as well. I think it's just important that everyone realises the changes going on. It's similar to when the smaller street or smaller farm or shops going business replaced by supermarkets. That's exactly what's going on with farms. The smaller ones going to go, by larger farms. But yeah, thank you so much for giving the time.
Wonderful for having us again. It's really great what you're doing. You drive past, there's so much happens that people just don't see. There's huge sheds out the back, and it travels all over the place. Continue the farming stuff, we diversify as a wedding venue and adventures. It's a model example of what has to happen, really. And congratulations for that. And of course, we support too. But it's really important for us to recognise how you're doing, which is why I wanted to invite you this morning to speak, and glad we did. Superb, thank you, Jeff. Great that you pulled on a high bit and doing the little bit. It was great. And the soil that was fantastic. So the community stuff you do, the charity stuff you do, it just really is a business that puts people in England involved with. Is recognised. And I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled, that as a result of last year's first one, you were able to have those conversations with different people. I know you spoke to Jim and others individually, and Simon, some good came out of it. So, just like the wedding venue, when couples come together, relationship, make wonderful things happen, this partnership is working well because you not only hosted us, but you were you've given up your time to speak to us today in order to do the same. Really good, thank you for that. Thank you. It's all about you to stay with us and join us wherever you can. Appreciate it if you've got to get off. Your staff have been marvellous.
It's actually thank you.
Started by this first agenda item as well, which is that it was launched this time last year at the Royal Conference. A few days ahead of its official launch, because we've got a captive audience. So, can I welcome this year, lots of work been done, huge amount, a very small team at LCC. That's something that most of us are passionate about, and that's so can I welcome Leicestershire County Council and Paul? I think you're going to come up and talk to us about all of that work that's been done. James, thank you for what you've done to coming again today. Your team's done a marvellous job. Moved on a lot. It's going to be some good command. Is there anything? Next slide, just press the up. Just clap the, because that's yes.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Martin. For having us again. It's great to be here last year. Really excited to be involved today. Talk about the local corporate strategy. So, manager, and budget manager, I was responsible for developing the strategy in partnership with many organisations and partners, individuals, community groups. And we have just finished our public consultation now after 18 months of work. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to ministers. Thank you to everybody who took part in the consultation. We've had over 400 responses to our survey and 400 comments on our construction maps. Over 1,000 downloads of the strategy, and we've put on close to 30 online and in-person briefings to reach as many people as possible. But the overall response has been overwhelmingly positive. I'm just going to summarise a little bit of background on the local neighbourhood strategies and then talk a bit more about the strategy itself and my own rationale for the decisions that we came to. So if we get a bit bored with the slides, put your hand up something to move on. I'm more than welcome to do that. But the strategies themselves came out of the Environment Act in 2021, and they're one of the suites of new tools designed to help them achieve its targets for environment, biodiversity, water, climate, and also contributing to the global commitment to achieving 30% of land and sea protected by 2030. So these are just one tool to do that. And all, I suppose they came out from consultation with local planning authorities who asked, would a series of maps be helpful when you're looking at how to offset development, creating habitats in offset development? And they all said yes, and we've looked some map, but the local nature strategies have come a long way since and many more people and organisations that help abilities. So digital strategies, and the first thing that we had to do was map the most important areas of the nature. Those are local nature reserves, interests, local wildlife sites, the scientific designation, and that's what we built strategy around. So we built strategy around these most important sites because they already have protection in law and including irreplaceable habitats, open and low effectiveness for us. We build a strategy around these because of these. If we have confidence in 30 years, 50 years, and 100 years, they won't be a motorway, or they won't be a direct course for big development in these places because they have these levels of affection. So that's what we build the strategy around. And then working with all the particular sectors, massive thank you to everybody who's been involved in this. What priorities of nation were, just looking specifically at what's important locally for us. We're in part of the role in farming is very important. We need development. How can we do better sustainably and help nation recover through the landscape? So we agreed a suite of priorities that could be delivered alongside our competing uses for land. And then working with a lot of experts and a lot of help at the time, we then modelled the maps areas that could become important for biodiversity, and that has given us the local nature recovery strategy and just seen a little bit, and I realised, right, and so just a bit more background. So we've got 48 local nature recovery strategies currently in development. I think one, two, a couple of them probably have, but we were the fifth to get to the stage of the draft strategy to supporting authorities, which is Leicester County Council, Leicester City, Rutland, and the 7 district borough council, and also National England, and a national panel asking to get the we were the first of the nation to go through that panel meeting without an official pause, but we met all the criteria set out in the regulations. So that was a big thumbs up that we were told to do, really, and a little bit more. So I just want to obviously just to demonstrate that we've got 8 neighbouring authorities as well. So we've been working very closely with Staffordshire, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Lincolnshire, we've got Cambridgeshire, Peterborough to provide West and North and Warwickshire. So we've been identifying priority areas and measures to making sure that we align with the boundaries so that we know nature doesn't provide to our boundaries. But this is just some of the other tools that came out from environment so the LMS and the but there is a bias in that game which is designed to development similar to conservation governance, strategies, species conservation strategies, and the box and the future initiatives. And I guess that gives a clue that over the next 5 to 8 years, which might be the time before this strategy review, there will be future initiatives that will also contribute, which is why we had to make a strategy that was quite broad and overarching, being with huge changes. So other things could be adopted into it, we can help them scale. I won't dwell on this, but it's very good again. So, and just make it clear, this is the first time we've done this, and we had a time to develop the strategy, really starting in January last year, and we had to get this by September. That was to meet deadlines to make sure that we went through our process ready to publish later this summer. So lots of work was done in nearly 9 months. We looked at that more time than we all, but so yeah, just thank you to the local authorities and agencies, the environmental organisations, that's the one, community groups who've been instrumental in this, and the farmers and land managers, particularly with the CLA and NFU, have been extremely supportive of getting us in front of farmers, land managers, land agents, help us shape the strategy. One of the points we wanted to make early on in developing this, so I sit in the environmental policy strategy and this is the nature recovery strategy. But it was very clear when we came into the post that around 75% of the land is used for agriculture, and our we sit in raw England, it's on all the sides of the didn't want this strategy to be another tool to back farmers with. It's important to acknowledge the challenges that nature is faced. Also, now's the time to look for opportunities and work together going forward. So farming has been really instrumental in shaping the strategy and the priorities that we've needed in working with farmers. In the strategy, we want to highlight to the reader, whoever, food production is extremely important for nation, but also coming out of the we recognise that there are over 2,000 individual farm holdings, some big, some small, and they need support, covering 190,000 hectares of 255,000 hectares, so that is 75%. And we work with them. So this strategy maps areas of nature recovery. Nature recovery can be done alongside farming and farm businesses. So some of the places that we looked initially when we were mapping, which wasn't being used for food production, such as the field margins, hedgerows. We looked at the grade 4, grade 5 agricultural land, field corners, also areas that we captured in the strategy of all railway lines, historic railway lines, preparing habitats to riverside habitats and large canals as well, which we look to give farms across the landscape opportunities to do nature recovery. I won't dwell on this, but this is just really interesting for this slide. One of the things that we had to do early on was get understand the state of nature. And when I came into post, I was told, and it continues to be the story that Leicestershire is one of the most, or the most depleted county, one of the most depleted countries in the world, which is a terrifying thing to say. And there are many reasons for that, but it also starting with that, there's lots of opportunities for carbon recovery as well. When we were looking at all of the data, all the information, working with the breakfast centres and the wildlife trust and others, we were just assessing over 1,800 individual species, including plants and animals, mosses and lichens. We were looking at data going back to the 1850s, which we had millions of records to try and understand trends and how wildlife is declining. And we've used sort of national statistics here just to demonstrate that our mammals are declining, some are very close to extinction, like Hazelwood National Park. Our birds have been severely impacted. The birds are on the brink of extinction, currently being hugely rising. We know on its species and insects in general, today, we just it's a horrible way of seeing it. 20 years ago, you have to watch it, you know, the baking of it now. You don't. It's just a very visual thing to see. And one thing we do notice is that our freshwater habitats, our rivers in particular, or by the condition, we don't have any good water sources. That's a huge decline, not just on the plastic species, but the wild environment. But I put this up because I wanted to do a state of nature report for Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland. And even though we have all this information, we still have enormous gaps. We still don't know the true state of nature. So we need to work together to monitor, to survey, to use people across all sectors to understand. Next time we come to review this, we'll have a really good baseline and we can say, stand it, understand that this is why it's about it. So in the strategy, we have 8 strategic aims. You can think of these as goals, the end goal, if you like. And more information in our main but that's but just to summarise, this is what we're trying to achieve. We have a whole host of measures that come onto which will help us deliver our priorities, which will help us achieve our strategic aims. Those are to increase the area of diversity of land and water management wildlife. We want to increase biodiversity and improve by improving additional habitat quality of all of our existing areas, which is really important. Really we know we need to reinstate our natural processes using nature-based solutions. We have flooding is a huge issue, and we need nature-based solutions to help tackle those and protect communities while fixing nature. And we recognise the importance of the green and blue spaces in our urban environment and the need to safeguard and improve those habitat qualities and create new areas. I talked on about farming. We need to promote sustainable nature, businesses, and support food systems. One of the things we realised early on in the strategy is we have fragmented areas of nature, we have woodlands, we have water grass, but we are not connected, so improving the connectivity through the landscape by using our existing connections with the railways and the canals, river corridors, also the landscape gardens, pond networks. There's so many ways that we can improve nature's ability to move the landscape. We only need to reduce major pressures, that's another one of our areas, so not just invasive non-native species, but invasive species, also pests and disease. And then we know, I've touched on before, the importance to understand the plastic, by monitoring it, surveying, be sure that we educate people who are together to do outreach, and it is something that we continue to deliver year on year. So those are our aims. To make the strategy as inclusive as possible, we recognise that we map some areas for nature, or in some of that land might actually be the landscape, nature needs to happen everywhere. So in the strategy, we've identified 8 landscape scale priorities which are designed to be inclusive. These are around protecting or enhancing safeguarding what we have and improving it. So all of these landscape scale priorities will, in the strategy, take you to another document, the document all the best practice and management guides. So around pension optimization and people she made it long, is something that the mandate also local authorities can help to do, knowing the maximum regime, and saying for our basic species, water management practices, and flood management, and we have an experiment farming in that. Sustainable farming is about scheme and other practices. And this is in, I hope, when the farm is looking at even if they're not in a strategic location, they can demonstrate that by saying so it's to try and make the strategy as inclusive as possible. So just to touch on, so we've got 113 priority species. This is important to know. Priority species are mapped in the strategy. Funding to species by and these cover the whole strategy area. I just want to make a point as an example. Palmate newts is one of our priority species, not and the reason being, a priority species in a regulatory strategy needs to needs to have a bespoke measure, something that won't management. So the palmate newt in this example needs very specific parts in the city sort of place with no reputation. And then we have 100 indicator species, which we hope we are going to promote the schools and university department. These are species that are easy to identify. We know they cover all of our everything forwards 90%. I'm going to put this down last time. Flying through. So these are the steps that we went. We applied laws and principles in our landscape, to define networks in our urban areas of our nature, networks in our woodland areas, our grassland areas, and when you put it all together, we applied measures at 4 different sectors that deliver multiple benefits, management, restoration. When you layer it all on, just when you put grassland measures, priorities, woodland measures, railways, everything together in one area, an area of map has multiple opportunities to nature recovery. This means farmers can get involved, communities can get involved, local governments can get involved. You don't decide how to do one thing. You do all of the working together. Our priorities, we need to have the biggest impact. Everybody can help.
Thank you very much. Huge amount of work, there's a few slides in this that don't disappoint me now. It's that we share with everybody. Look at that. Obviously, you're here at the mid-morning break. It's a huge amount of work to take, and of course, what benefits not have? Who are just busy about their business, they're not here today, but they need a helping hand. And this sets a very much a picture of a point in time that identifies where the issues are and will change over time. Living, breathing, moving documents as it moves out over time. So we have a question and answer session at the end of the morning, at the end of the day, and if any report that, please join the vote over the break and the lunch time. And you contact me so we can as well. We can get back to you. it's a very, very small time we have for you today. I wonder what you do. Huge amount of work, massive amount of effort. We've been honoured to be part of that and for give you the opportunity. So please give James and his team a big round of applause and do our best. Okay, can I ask panelists from our clean neighbourhoods to join us and talk about our big things? What?
My name is Ash, I'm marketing university, and the two parts of marketing have our operational plan. Our important officers, and so part of my job is investigating bicycling, littering, graffiti, abandoned vehicles, patrolling around parks and space, of section order, council working with various councillors and parish staff in the room. We have the issue of bicycling certainly the rural aspects, and I have some the report from April 22 to March 23, we had 751 bicycles. April 23 to March 24, we had 820. And from April 24 to January of this year, we're currently at 670. Looking at figures, we're probably going to match or beat the 820 of last year. So bicycling is a massive, massive issue we're having. In the room to report it, cameras, signs up. We really, really need your help. The statements, witness it. We need your help to catch people. Now, when we do catch them, we do have some very good successes. Recently, we've had 2 people found guilty in court and fined and have criminal record fighting in. We had a successful case over in Shilton, which was in the landowner being fined £10,000 for breach of community protection and behaviour act. We do take these issues really seriously. Now, when you look at numbers certainly related to this year, we had 670, we've only had 2 in court. Quite frightening that we only have had so little in court. They do get very clever, so that there's not even evidence in there. So we get wrong with white goods, with building waste and green waste. We haven't had any evidence, not cause of witnesses, don't support by statements. Don't have support. That's one of the big challenges we face. Part ways to go around this is that we do put signs up in areas around the borough. We have use covert cameras to catch people, and what happens to us at the moment, we've just been authorised in social media. Having people talk about it, may not know who they are, doorbells, purchase TV, we've now been given authorisation for. Do you recognise is issued? That's been a 3-year challenge to try and get that now finally authorised. And it's been very, very positive. Other things we do say around graffiti, certainly it's defensive graffiti, we have our operational force, not putting marks in the room, defensive, we will allow us to remove that. Dog fouling, littering as well, we investigate. So anything you see, any warrants in your respective parishes, please report to the group. We have 2 enforcement officers, myself being full-time officer, and we have part-time, 2 operational officers, safety officers, DGR, and 4 cleansing staff. We have 24 cleansing staff in the library. Some of those focus purely on our bin removal, litter picking, street cleansing, our asbestos removal, hazardous removal, our faulty services, and our void property removal. They've got there to get 24 members of staff to the area. And so we do face some challenges. We do have funding support, as mentioned earlier, with our content, our walls, breakfast activities that we want to encourage anyone who's been part of that to find get along to you. So we really encourage any support on that one. Then I'm sorry, so yeah, our fines, so when we investigate anything we have to any evidence, we write a review caution, where we make various evidence before them. Now, we can issue a fine, has increased, we issue a fine, £800, and this was previously £400. In court, it is taken really seriously. We have a couple of cases in court recently where fines have been quite low. 20. But that's how I'm found guilty. Now, if they are found guilty, we will name and shame them. You encourage that. Certainly the case I mentioned earlier, the £10,000 or within our Sheraton, that was 15 months worth of investigation. Things do take time. Please do bear with us. We are investigating. We do various processes. We do have a store in the marketplace with that's really environmental crime thing that you can see us. I think the movement of big bin service. Colleague Martin Group responsible for. So our big bin service was launched late designed for residents. The 2 points for big, but not in the skip. So very clear and smooth with the trust and professional service, your ways that we be responsibly and properly. We have a lot of care. Duty care is being handling back and paid back and license. We have to issue a resident notice for this. There was found they like relevant checks license. Unfortunately, we can't give that and apply to this, but we do have a very much. And by using our big service and it removes the program and license based areas, also can reduce the cost. The part of the big service works very well with our collection service. We have ciphers and other items we remove that service. And again, service is very popular. We offer a door-to-door service, so we will pick it up and drop it off for you. Something we can put in it, you know, we can offer recycling service, we improve part of service, but we can't actually things like slab, chemical waste. We do offer that as well. We've got this year we have launched a big garden waste service. So last year the garden waste service, and in 2025, this year we are launching a big business week. We've got various options that are to ensure that all the ways that these work correctly. And yeah, that's it for me. So thank you very much. And we have got a store in the marketplace. Thank you very much.
Just a couple of minutes. So, welcome the news about legal. Just one question back. Probably even more helpful. On gardens, so can ring doorbells identify prolific offenders who lack the job of the public highway and sort of gardens? Can that be reported? Because dog farming, you know, is a huge problem. It's actually catching the people. Often you know who it is, and now we can use that if you can.
Yeah, so one thing that you get forced through no city is our own blue jacket. But who it is, where it lives, and that's just one big issue we have. You know, with the need of the complainant. But by having this new service in place, which is taking quite a while to get through.
You can actually pull picture of people offenders.
Yes, so the processes we do where they may so the process we have to go through behind the scenes initially, like and then once that's been then we do your issue. It's not that. So it's taken a while to get there. But yeah, it's very
Huge improvement. Again, you know, encourage everybody to talk to you during the break and over lunch. But speak for everybody in this room. Say, I have lost count of the number of times people here at being in touch with me. There is a scientific issue. The speed of response, quality of that response. It's not perfect every time. I'm not say it is. But I've had overwhelming conversations many times. In hours and hours. The team, they're not on behalf of us all. I started the conference by saying we're challenging times and what going to be change to part of the collection, improved waste collection. It's been talked about many times in trials, it's happened, it's not happening, but it is going to happen. So, Darren, I can welcome you, hugely respected for what you're doing with the bin crews and getting to those, all the bins that you empty every year. We're going to talk about how food waste is going to be implemented shortly. So there's no issue.
So now more, now I'm going to say, and now, food waste. So first of all, let's start with so the government has legislated now to say every local authority next year must provide weekly food waste collection. So that's what we're currently planning for. And other than that, it's probably the wrong thing to do. We all know how much waste we put out ourselves and how that been every week. But have you ever thought how much waste the road we produce? Certainly do this. We have to pick it up every week. So just to give you some context, what you're looking at there is 1 day's worth of in the road. And bearing in mind it takes 10 days to get a span over. That's just 10% of what we do. On that by 26 for the year, and you're looking at 1,000 tons of waste. And that gives you some context of why we need to do something different. If I then tell you that the composition of waste is 30% of what we're looking at there is made with food, then if we deal with that in a sustainable way, then it makes sense that we do so. It's not nice, but it's particularly like it. It's going to be a lot of engagement. Right, let's look at who, what, how, where, and when. It's going to connect to last things to thinking about the house, we're very proud of that, and we'll be wasteful to be collected by our staff. That's the county councils and disposal authorities, so they make provision for both taking waste. So what can go in the food waste? Pretty much what you put in that position. Food scraps, everything you see on there, that's probably small tea bags as well, and how many tea bags do you do that? And what you use it there as well. So what will we do with it? This is the food waste hierarchy. The top is prevention. So that's the best thing. So this is more supermarkets buying. We distributing food when it goes out to the snowball days. So what we see, and what I've just shown us live, is the way at the bottom of the hierarchy, currently that's landfill or to incineration. So what we're looking to do is move that on to the next layer, which is recycling, and that's process called anaerobic digestion, and we'll see the benefits that we get from doing it. So as we said, that's mandated. Next one, good news is that we now changes to residents on the day. We move as a resident, the food waste collection will be on your black end day. We will be so. We've got the 9 of just brought in to the council, so there'll be a meeting day the waste that goes in there. Then a larger campaign of 23 litre normally kept outside and then presented within on collection day. And that's the by about 50% of the council already do the food waste collections, and that's the law tested the best way to. So the vehicles are going to be 26 tons because the food waste being impacted. So these bins are like the skip, the vapors in the capacity, the sealed units, to make sure that makes it in the skip. This video.
There's a big impact on climate change, which is why more and more of us are recycling our food waste. The best thing we can do with our food is enjoy it. But some things like tea bags, eggshells, banana skins, fish and meat balls, and plate scrapings is unavoidable. If we don't recycle our food waste, its potential is lost forever. To avoid this, councils are introducing food waste collections so that we can all recycle our food waste. Once collected, the most common way our food waste is treated is by using a process known as anaerobic digestion. This process uses microorganisms called pathogens to break down food waste in a closed tank. When it breaks down, it produces biogas, which is collected and used to generate clean energy, including electricity, heat, or transport fuel, which power homes in communities across the nation. It also creates a biofertilizer that can be used in farming and for land regeneration. By using our food waste to produce this green energy, it reduces our need to use fossil fuels, which are damaging to our wildlife, our health, and our environment, and replaces it with this environmentally friendly alternative that's sustainable. It's also cleaner than other energy production processes, meaning it creates fewer greenhouse gases. A recycling fact: for every 6 tea bags we recycle, enough green energy can be produced to make another cup of tea or coffee. Remember, you can put all sorts of food waste in your food waste can to be recycled, including used tea bags and coffee bags, eggshells, fruit and vegetable peelings, and fish including bones, plate scrapings or leftovers that can be safely stored to eat later, and food that's no longer safe to eat. Please don't place any of the following packaging of any kind, such as milk, liquid oils or fats, or any material that's not food waste. These items, most contaminants, can cause damage to food waste processing equipment and block pumps and piping, which can prevent the recycling process working effectively. If you need to find out when you should have your food waste to be collected, or you need to order a new food waste can, visit your local council's website. Thank you for continuing to do the right thing in your Richmond environment by recycling. For more information about what you can and can't recycle where you live, visit recyclenow.com or your local council's website.
Thanks. Hopefully that gives you a bit of context about how the waste data and the benefits we get from doing that. So in terms of thinking bottom waste, we unfortunately have a Biden plans to start the process in a little bit more detail. The waste comes themselves. It goes into the anaerobic digestion where it gets used to make the blind heating power, just seeing to digest it, which can then be used as compost and then to both as a compost. So again, all of waste that you go through the process can be sustained. So when the oil is stored, just imagine the sector councils holding food waste, where the vehicles carries together the market for okay, so I can tell you that it's ready to go for next year. We'll be rolling them out in February 26 and implementing weekly collection effectively so that anybody will be in service by the diversity. With our common strategy, that's the big work now, which will be developed. Yeah, basically, program, so the 3 times and whatever an approach. So early in the autumn, we will start saying this is coming again in the winter and just before in January. So residents can have a service to go with. But go on back to the beginning, residents may not necessarily want this. That visual digital concept of what we need to do. We're going to need engagement from members as well, and all residents to make this good. This is 30% of that total. Normal participation in this activity. The 70% have been doing about 5 years. Get that 50%, we need 100% participation. Which is depending on how many residents we get to do this.
Presentation, so while this time actually we'll all have, I've said this to you before, repeated, I think food waste and all the recycling, food waste, and the new foods. And there is no too wet, too cold, too icy, too sunny, too hot, you know, it hasn't mattered anything around that heat wave. They don't go to every property in the door every week, and they just carry out that task, clearly there's a mess, and we all appreciate what they do. You know that we do, reiterate that point, because they really hard to keep all clean and tidy, and without such, we'd be all in a terrible state. So, it's going to be a challenging to that challenge, and whilst we're here, can we thank the crews and clean label services for what they do, keep the borough usable as the cap, it's been in the first place, because they would have what best owners would have to do. But it's marvellous what you do. Thank you for your presentation. Encourage people to speak to you. And pass it back to you. If you'd like to talk about the conclusion, just a few minutes with Sharon Stacey, go straight to the registration desk and you'll be given a time. Copy of the wines and waters all free in the main place, and all the wonderful stands waiting to talk to you and have questions. Amongst yourselves, use the facility, and I'll back in 28 minutes, because we run over what's it.